Hey guys, I decided to do a video on me winterizing our G. And winterizing the G and the K is going to be the same thing. My mother has a K, so they do it exactly the same way. They're just in different places. A little bit late in the year to do it, I guess, because we're kind of halfway through the winter down here in our part of the world. But my wife and I, we travel quite a bit throughout the winter, so every time we come home, we winterize. And it sounds to me like a few people out there have issues and some hang-ups and kind of a little intimidated by winterizing their Travato. And you read through the manual and it seems to be more complicated than what I believe it has to be. Now keep in mind, this is the way I do it. It may not be the way someone else does it, but to me I believe it's completely adequate. I don't worry about blowing lines out with air or anything like that. I drain my lines and I put antifreeze in them. I've seen some posts that people's had them winterized at the videos where at the filter there was some cracks and stuff like that, and I've got my own theories and thoughts of what caused that, and I'll go through that with you. But anyways, my point is to me it's a very simple procedure. Anybody that has a Travato can do it. There's no reason to take it in and have it done. And there's no reason to stress about it and not take a trip for fear of I'm going to have to winterize my unit again. So anyways, we'll start out with coming in here, and first things first is you've got to drain all the water out. So in our G here, down here with the Truma and all this is where your dump lines are. And coming from the factory, this is bolted, screwed down, and I've left the screws out of it and leave it that way, and it doesn't rattle, cause any problems or issues, and it makes this a whole lot easier rather than having to screw it in and out all the time. So let me put this back here out of the way. Okay, now come on down here so you can see right here. All right, down here in your front right corner, there is a chrome valve right here that's kind of covered under the ductwork here, so it's not just if you start looking for the first time, you may have some trouble finding it. But it's the only kind of metal valve in here, and you just put it in line with the line and it's going to start draining there. And the way that I know that this is open or closed is across the line would be a barrier to where you can't go through it, and when you put it in with the line to where fluid could go through, that's a good way of seeing it. So that right there is for the main water drain on the tank. This line here, this little tab right here, the yellow one here, this is your dump line for the Truma system. That's what's going to drain the water, what's in the Truma here. And you just raise it up and open them two right there and give it some time to drain. Now we get to fast forward because I've already drained this for us, so that's not an issue. So the lines are drained, so I'm all right to go on and close these back up. That way next time I go to filling up, we don't have to worry about that. Now the other thing is on your Truma here you have a bypass, and it's labeled down here for normal, straight in line, and bypass right here. And what this is doing is when we put it in bypass, this is going to keep our antifreeze and stuff from going into the Truma unit. So we've closed that right there, and at this point here we're getting real close to ready to put antifreeze in that thing. Okay, so the next thing, and this is back to where we've seen some posts where some people have had their filters freeze up. Where's our trash can at? Okay, I keep this handy because it keeps me from making a little bit of a water mess in here. But under here, get it over here where you see this valve here. This filter right here, this is what I start with, because if you just start running antifreeze in here, you're gonna have a whole lot of antifreeze or water that's left in this filter housing right here that's really never gonna get a complete antifreeze deal there. So They come with the wrench, but I'm able to do it without it, and it just makes it a little bit easier. So I go on and drop this down. This is why I keep my basket here, because I'm pretty good at spilling. And so I'm just going to take this water outside and dump it. One, I'm going to dump it outside because I've already drained my gray and my black tanks for that matter, and I don't want any water in those more than has to be. So I'm gonna just go and pour the water out here. And this O-ring right here, be careful with that, because if you just run it out and dump it out, you can also dump that O-ring out with it, and then that makes life more difficult than it has to be. So we've dumped the water out, and I'm just gonna, before I do that, is you'll notice we don't run a filter. My wife and I, we don't drink the water out of this thing. We keep our tank clean and all that, and without drinking water, I don't see the need for having the filter in there, so I just leave it out. All right, so at this point here, we've got her screwed back on. And now we're going to set up for putting some antifreeze in it. You might do better over here. Okay, so our little door here on the side pulls out, and this is one of the things that they have made this so easy to winterize these units, is that we've got a valve here that it just redirects the water pump. Instead of sucking out of the water tank, it sucks out of the gallon jug. We'll take the cap off of it. There. And set it close. Now there, and right here you have a normal and a winterized valve. Just slap that up to winterize. Now I'm going to turn the water pump on. And what it's going to do, the water pump's going to kick on for a second, and it's going to run and start sucking antifreeze out of here, and essentially it's filling up the water that I just dumped out. And that's where I'm saying that I think that people's had problems from the dealer, is that they're not draining that water out of there, and you've got a lot of, you don't have much antifreeze in that filter housing. So water pump on. There she went. She filled, basically it just filled that filter up. Now, for sometimes I'm kind of extremist on some things, and I want to make sure that I don't get any water in there. So I turn my water pump back off, and I let the pressure out. And I'm going to dump this canister one more time, because when I turn that water pump on, I know I still have some residual water left in my lines, that I've pushed all of that into this housing. So I'm doing this. I turn the water pump off. I open a valve because I want to relieve the pressure off the lines, otherwise I'm going to get sprayed in the face. And I just leave that valve open this time, and I come down here and I break this back off. And you can see here that it's pink, but it's not quite as dark as what the true antifreeze is. Now I feel very confident that when I do this again, I'm going to have nothing but antifreeze in this housing here. I'm going to screw her back on. I'm going to close this valve back, and then I'm going to kick the water pump back on and fill that line back up. I kind of keep a close eye on this here. All right. So from this point, all I'm going to do is I'm going to run water through these lines until I get a good run of antifreeze here through it. And you do have to change your jug out every now and then. One thing that would be nice to do and a good add-on is to change this hose out and just give yourself a little bit longer hose. I'm gonna cut the top of this one off here, and I'll be able to pour the remainder and get down to the bottom of it. Okay, so once again, I've got plenty of antifreeze in there, and I've got a good red stream going on my cold water side. Now I'm going to bring it up to the hot water side, because you've got those lines that still have water in them too. And I'm going to run that until, and it'll start getting foamy, but I want to wait till I become good and pink. And this is also putting antifreeze in my empty gray tank too, so it's going to kind of dilute any water that might have been left down in there to keep me from freezing up there. So I've got a good amount of antifreeze through those lines, but we need to do the kitchen sink. Excuse me, we just did the kitchen sink. We need to do the bathroom sink and the shower wand, and we need to do the toilet also. Same thing. Back here I want to run my coal. See, it doesn't take long because we're getting our lines emptied up now. Get my drain out. And that was the cold water. We're going to do the hot water. Now from this point it really doesn't matter. There's just one line. I'm going to go through my shower also. I'm going to run it to where I've got good peak antifreeze there. We're going to kick that one off. And now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to run my water through the toilet. It's going to take a little bit longer there because we've got that longer line. And once again, I don't mind running a little bit and dumping a little bit of that into my holding tank also. Yes, and we have this one here too. Thank you. My wife reminded me of that one. And I'm going to run it to the same. That we're out of antifreeze over here. Let me get a little more here. This stuff but ain't but $2.50 a gallon, so I'm not afraid of using an extra gallon. And when I get done, whatever I have left, I end up pouring down my drain, because the way I feel, the more I can get in my gray and black tank, the better also. So I should be able to finish this line up now. Yep, there we go. Okay. Now we still have the one line in the back of the unit left for our outdoor shower. make sure I got enough there. And we've got good antifreeze coming out there. Okay, now my wife tells me not to do this every time, but I go on and blow it out here. And the reason I do that, for when I put it back, all it would do would be drain out into our line here, and I'll come back here when I'm finished with this project and dry my mess up. Okay, so from this point we've got through all of our water lines, I've got antifreeze. And in a G, I also want to do one more thing. From this point here, I'm not going to be running any more water, so I'm going to put that back in normal. I'm going to turn my water pump off. Go on and put my cap back on here. There we go. And now I'm going to take this, what I got left right here, and as all of us G's, we have one more thing to do that the K's don't have. In our shower drain, we have to pump out the drain here. So that being said, I'm going to turn this pump on here because I want to fill this line up with antifreeze also.
That makes a mess in the shower.
Alright, so now I know I've got in the other pump down there that I've run antifreeze through it and through that line down into that tank. Now that's a G thing. The K doesn't have that. So the other, what I have left with my antifreeze now, I'm going to go on and use all of my gallons, even though I know I've run some water down through here. At this point, I'm just trying to make good use of it and make sure that we get our sink lines, P-traps, and everything like that covered. So I've run water through all of my lines. I've run it through my toilet, my outdoor shower, my P-traps, my pump for on the G model out of the shower drain, and that's about it. Now when we go to unwinterize, the next thing that I do is when I fill up with water, I kick my water pump on. Before that, to make life easier, we'll go on and take this right here, let the pressure off, and I'm going to go on and dump the antifreeze out of this line right here, because the same son of a gun. All right. Same in reverse. When you go to fill up with water, you're going to be a long time getting your antifreeze out of the line as long as you have this filter canister full of antifreeze. So I do that the same way in reverse when I fill it up with water. I'll fill the tank up with water, run water, let it fill this up, kick it off, I dump it out, dump the residual antifreeze out, and then I run the same way through all of my lines until my lines come clean with antifreeze and they come clear water. And at that point, when they all come clear water, then I go down and I go back to normal on the Truma. That way I put water inside my Truma and I don't pump the water that's in these lines into the Truma. So I just clean the lines out basically before I put it all in there. In a nutshell, that's the way I do it. I can't guarantee you that it's the right way, but we've had temperatures this winter down to 3 degrees and have absolutely had no problems at all. This RV marine antifreeze is good to negative 50 degrees. In my opinion, as the directions say, they start out with blowing them all out with air and then running that right there. Well, I'm replacing the water with antifreeze, so I'm just skipping a step and trying to keep it simple. Anyways, hope this is some use to you guys, and it'll take some anxieties out of the way, and anybody can do it. Y'all have a great day.